I'm ready.
All right, taking off right to left. I haven't attached to a rudder, so I just widen it into a rudder, and I find that they play one. See that camera panning. Aside from the functional slats, which are great, also the inflatable tires and the whole ruggedness of that landing gear make it really exceptional for all different kinds of surfaces. I mean, I don't think there's a surface alive that's just soften them up so it's really rocky. Ride the tire along the beach. Well, turning it in. Now I'm about half throttle here. Coming in. Wind kind of died. Normally we'd be coming into the wind. Wind's been sort of on and off. But I'll take that. First plane, definitely not a beginner plane. And when it comes to the slats, which I'm going to drop now, so slats are up with the flaps out. It can definitely, change your flight characteristics. If you get it too slow, the Bison it'll be mush like this, and it could stall. Definitely. Designer of the model talks about it. But it's the type of model that when you have the slats and the flats out to get slow, you're going to still be about 50% throttle. Like right now, I'm about 50% throttle. Now the wind's picking up a bit more. Again, this is still the type of model when it is a windy day. Like we're dealing with about 15 mile an hour wind gust, 10 mile an hour steady. Stall planes are why you have them. By a switch. And then you have the nav lights as well. Skynetic Bison is going to love it solely for its ruggedness. I don't think there's a model on the market in full electric that has the decent gear. So this model does a great feature. And that wide open battery. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Motion RC Live. I'm James, joined by Alex for episode 38 this September the 24th. And it feels like fall outside down here where we are. I don't know about you guys, but it is getting chilly. I saw some people talking about the weather. Yeah, summer's done. And today, though, we're talking about the Skynetic Bison. So if you saw earlier this week, on Monday, I believe, the container arrived and these started shipping to all the people who were on the Notify list, and they're moving really well. So we want to thank you guys who already are in on it. And you know, I have a fresh one, as you see on the table. The one that I've been flying was early production, but you know, more videos are going to be coming, more content. We just weren't able to prepare. Container was like late, and then it was on time. Then it came and sort of caught us off guard. But today, exciting. We're joined by Alpha. So Alpha Enos, our product manager. You know, he was behind the design and behind a lot of basically everything you're seeing come across Motion RC's websites. So Alpha, you're here, buddy?
Yes, I am. Hey there.
Alpha's here. So I want to make sure everybody on the chat, let us know if you hear him well. We hear him pretty good. Audio seems to be good. But today we could sort of, you know, talk about, you know, the full unboxing. Because I think the last time when we previewed it on a live show, I already sort of had it built, you know, and again, this one was sitting here and we talked about it built. But now, you know, I have a better chance because, again, I got this one and part of it was already built. It had already been flown at the factory. So it just wasn't, you know, we weren't able to do an assembly video. So that's what Alex and I are going to be doing as soon as this live show ends. So we could try to have that up early next week for you guys as well. But let me know if you guys are in on it. Anybody here who already purchased it, you know, let us know because I'd love to hear your thoughts and everything. And if anybody got them out flying, we expect to see videos and all that good stuff probably happening this weekend, I would think. So moving right into it, I guess. Let's talk Bison. So Alpha, any you know, introductory words for potential Bison owners or already Bison owners?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about the Bison. Guys, as we mentioned in the initial launch piece, the bird's been around for a long time. We've been working on this bird for years now, and we're excited that she's finally here. There's a bit, as Tom had mentioned in Hobby Squawk, there's a bit of a last minute sort of 3 or 4 week delay at Chicago, which was just very very surprising, but beyond that, we're happy that she's here. And again, as James mentioned, thanks to everyone for showing their support. You know, in a nutshell, guys, our idea with the Bison was just we're known for making jets that gives people a platform to then customize and sort of do their own thing with. On the propeller side, a stall seemed appropriate. These are aircraft which in real life are customized by their pilots to fit very specific missions, whether they're flying off of mountainsides or down in the valleys, doing water landings, and so those types of things we wanted to imbue into the aircraft so that you can do FPV if you want to. You can adjust the PSI of your inflatable tires if you want to, ditch them and go to foam rubber tires if you want to, tweak the slat settings and mixes, pull off the LED lights on the wingtips, all of those types of things. I'm hoping that we see someone just paint it bright orange, a nice Valdez orange. But this is really our love letter to guys on the prop side who want to have something to really play with and personalize. And I think she's going to do the job well.
Nice. I see some questions out there. Well, I see one. Mike Bird, disappointed about the stick-on lights. You know, if that's the only thing holding you back, then, you know, so be it. But I like them. They're bright. They're super bright. The whole thing is really lit up. But I like the idea about it because again, the wire's right there. So if you didn't want stick-on lights, you always change it out, as Alpha just pointed out. The customization potential on this is there to do a lot of different stuff. And one of those things, for sure, is even adding more lights. But it's already got, what, one in the rudder. You got 2 on the front of the fuse for the landing. Right, you got the nav. It worked really well, really bright. And then someone else, actually scroll back up, Alex, in the chat. I saw somebody else just said, videos, flight videos. I want to do some flight videos on the new one. You saw, I hope, at the beginning there. That was a full flight that was yesterday we had it out. But again, I'm trying out different mixes. I'm still trying out things. Because again, I had an early production model, so some things had changed. You know, from way back when on the one now. So I do want to get this one together and then take this one out to do a proper video with,
with a freshie that everybody's gonna have. So this one was enough to get what we needed, for that first video. And I wanted to show too, I have a GoPro. I don't know if you guys can see, but I ended up putting on this one, I put a high-tech servo inside, put a GoPro mount on the top, and then I wired it to my rudder. So then we do have some onboard footage, and I know a lot of people, early on we're talking about the canopy, and I want to show you that it is pretty clear, and this one again was the early production one, but it looks awesome. I think it's going to be great for FPV setups, especially pan and tilt, and you do have the canopy up at the top, so it looks so much better. When you're out in the sunshine, and you can see we were flying a lake, so I got some water on the front of the glass and fingerprints, but it was awesome. And yesterday we were out flying it around and messing around because we had about a 20-mile-per-hour wind gust. It was really funny actually when I dropped the flaps and it was just sitting there as I was talking, like it started lifting up. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty crazy. GB, for you asking about the LEDs. So what we did on the wingtip LEDs is we adapted a 3 LED unit that plugs in directly to the wingtip. There are no wires. So for every other airplane that we've got LEDs on, as we're all familiar with, there's a wire that feeds all the way through the wing down into the control box and the fuselage for any free wing jet, flightline airplane, etc. On this model, there's a physical connector. There's a 2-pin metal connector that sits at the face of the LED itself. So not sure, Alex, if we can throw to a close up of the wingtip or a shot that has that. But in any case, that's what we're talking about when we talk about stick on. They're not stick on, they're plug in, but we do add a little bit of double stick tape to allow people to put them on more securely or pull them off. I didn't use the clear stick tape or the double stick tape. What I did was I took those 2 metal prongs and I just bent them ever so slightly away from each other. That gives you enough tension on the connection where they hold in just fine.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Or you could dab some glue around it.
Yep.
Something like that.
Our favorite foam tack.
Fine. Yeah. You could hinge tape over it. You could do a lot of different options. But
we've got guys asking about floats too, James. Maybe we Alex, would you go to my screen?
Yep, we're going to Alphas. We're going for some CAD. So actually, Alpha, this is a good time. We did speak about 2 or 3 weeks ago about coming on and seeing the Vulcan version of this for our members. But now that we have 2 planes that we could do this for, maybe it's time to, if you're interested, all you members, should we come on? Would you guys be interested in joining us for a private live stream where Alpha can dig into this and you guys can see really what goes on. I love this stuff when we do it. So let us know.
So let's talk about this we'll give you a quick preview, guys, of what we'd like to do on a deeper show. But this is the CAD for the Bison. This is obviously a render showing both undercarriage configurations. So savvy people who receive the box may have noticed we've got pictures of things that are really coming for the aircraft. So in this render, we see the wheels. Obviously, this is an overlay of both the wheeled undercarriage and the float set that we've got coming in. So for those of you asking in chat, is there a float option? There is. So I scroll around to this side and show you this is what that is set up for. For those of you who have the Bison already, you'll notice that there's a plastic bar back here that's currently not connected to anything. Well, now you know this is why it's there. It is there to allow people to very quickly disconnect the struts that we've got here, and using the same connection point for the front undercarriage, we're then connecting the front strut for the float set. Floats are individually steered through a servo that goes into the back here. Your typical plastic cap, just large float set. So that is something that we have completed and that we've got coming.
Maybe about the size of the Air Titan float.
Yeah, they're about the size of the Air Titan floats. We tweaked the shape of them a bit more for the Bison specifically, and how where the points are. You want to be very designing floats is a very persnickety thing. We need to make sure that the aircraft can still rotate at an adequate speed before digging in on the front. So all those sorts of things. But yeah, you're right, James. They're about the same, similar size to the Air Titan's floats.
And is that
And
plastic underneath, or there's two whites on the floats on your? Does that designate two different types of have anything to do
of
with material
of
or no?
material, no, they're not.
Okay,
They're not
they're
material. Yeah,
foam.
yeah, they're plastic capped in the sense that they've got these plastic pieces in here. We can see the servos inside of them. So there's other things other than just a block of foam.
Gotcha.
Um, with a wire, rudder sticking out the whole bottom of the airplane. We didn't want to go that simple, so we did build them out as you see here.
Wait.
But we were also talking. Mark had mentioned on a call the other day about other options, and we had noticed that some people were asking about skis. So I'll throw it out to the audience. I mean, is there any interest in a ski set? That's something that I
It's
think we
already
could
at
turn around pretty
81%.
quickly. Oh,
Alpha beat you
81%.
too.
Okay. I didn't look it over at the
Alex,
screen.
Alex already threw it up there.
Yeah,
I
so
think
if
skis.
if
Now skis, how big would they have to be
they'd be
for a
pretty
build like
large.
this? Because this is a
Yeah,
heavy, it's a heavy bird. Or skis, but it'd be awesome to
yeah,
go around
it is.
on the snow.
It's a big heavy bird, and so we'd have to candidly, I haven't calced any of the math, or we'd have to calc to make sure that we had obviously good distribution of weight and all those sorts of things. I would imagine they'd be about as big proportionally as they are on, say, a Cub. We'd probably want to widen them a little bit more because of the weight. But this brings me to another aspect which I can zoom in and show everyone. Keep in mind. Uh, Sorry about that. Keep in mind that as I zoom into this strut here, this is your main undercarriage strut. Someone had pointed out on a previous show, I believe it was the introduction show, that this strut uses a lot. It's very familiar because we use a lot of car parts, which is true. So this main sort of piston here is threaded, and it's intended for adjustment. So as I mentioned earlier about not only are the tires adjustable in terms of their PSI or just swapping them out, we use a standard diameter axle. You can use other types of wheels, but also if we were to go to, for example, a ski set, you would definitely want to adjust your stroke here um, on this strut here by either loosening it or completely removing it and clipping or adding shims into the springs to stiffen them up. So those are the types of things that if we had used just a single piece of steel, we would have lost all that adjustability.
Yeah,
And so I like seeing that people like skis. That's not something we were going to put in the initial package, but of course I love that people are already getting sort of the notion of the Bison and wanting to customize. And there are some things already built into there that's going to allow us to make that happen. So
that's
if
really
people
awesome. I
want
just love
skis, we'll work on some skis.
the one word that keeps coming to me with this one was just rugged. It's just rugged, and which is what you want. It looks like it could take a beating and keep on, and keep on going. And it's
Exactly.
exciting to have it here. And again, so coming back to me quick, just want to show you some of the other things, guys. So first things first again, and one of the reasons I think as well, we'll talk to, like, this isn't a first aircraft for people. This is a trainer, and one of the things are you're gonna have to do a little bit of work on your own, and one of them is the tires. So this is another reason. These already came assembled for me when I got this model, but they come unassembled. So you're gonna have to get a little glue, and we'll hopefully have some of our own on the website. But there's like a specific type of tire glue I think would be the best way to go. But you're setting up your own hubs, for the inflatable tires, or again back to the customizable point. We have a lot of options, already out there. If you weren't into the inflatable tires thing, which I think are cool because awesome, but the foam options like the Dave Brown ones, these are 6 inches. They'd work. Dubro has its own version of inflatable tire on our website, and then even the big Benchcraft, which are just solid rubber. You could go with those too, all at Motion RC. And we're gonna do a tip video, Alex, soon, probably during this assembly video. I'm gonna throw you to a tip video of you know, how to properly do this, because I did it once because actually I had a second one. I did it once, and yeah, it's one of those things. But then you get some other stuff. Again, you're getting 2 propellers, because we didn't talk to, and I still have yet to fly this on 4S. I've been doing all my practice on the 6S setup, but you get 2 propellers. One is a 16x8 and one is a 15x8, and you use the 15x8 for 6S and the 16x8 for 4S. So, you know, I'm going to definitely take it out and put different types of tires on it and do all that kind of stuff, but it's just going to take time, you know, as we go, because again, we sort of got surprised with the container on this one.
Things you're working on now, so
yeah, and other things getting in the way too. So, but it's exciting. I love the big inflatable tires. That would be a selling point for me. But I will say on you know, you got to be careful where you're flying off of, because you could fly virtually off of anything, but if you have them too highly inflated and you want to fly off the beach or rocks and such, you're risking popping them or breaking your glue job. So you'd want to, you know, deflate the tires for that type of surface, you know, and then I would think you'd go harder for your regular grasses and, you know, concrete, I guess, if you were going to go for that too.
yeah, exactly. It brings me to a point I wanted to make about the Bison and why we sort of were excited about it more than we would just a typical aircraft. In a word, the Bison she's not intended to train new pilots, but she was rather developed to teach current pilots new skills. So none of you have ever landed an aircraft, a propeller-driven aircraft with full slats before, at least not in a foam P&P production aircraft. This is the world's first. I'd wager many of us have not had an aircraft that had inflatable tires. And so those are 2 quick examples where we're really trying to push the envelope here and say it might look like a Cub. It's not a Cub. Might look like your typical trainer. It offers more. And so we're hoping that people, like you said, James, can take those wheels, experiment with different wheels, and eventually I imagine each pilot, you're going to have your pilot log and you're going to say, okay, when I fly off of sand, for the way that I like to fly and how I like to land it, I'm going to want a PSI like this. Or for the guys who are always going to fly this off of tarmac, you're definitely going to be adjusting your linkages and your pressure to minimize bouncing. You know, we tested this we tested this on riverbeds and the worst places you can imagine. So out of the box, the suspension is really tuned for off-roading, to use a poor term. But my point being, guys, is each of you will eventually find how you like to operate the aircraft. And for me, I think that's exciting. We really wanted to do something that doesn't come out of the box and can only be set up one way and can only be flown in one way and can only be successful in one way. So we hope people have fun with it.
Yeah, I saw somebody
Snow Valley
ask,
Park.
the adapter for the tires is your standard basketball air needle. You know, any sort of sports ball. I got it here. But that's all you need to pump up the tires. Alex can cut back to me in a sec, but
yeah, it's a standard needle.
Yeah, you get a
standard needle,
Walmart
nothing
or
special.
Amazon, nothing special to it, just your standard needle goes right in, and pumps it right up. So I have that in my field box when I'm going out.
Snow Valley Park is asking, are the inflatables considerably heavier? I wouldn't say that. In fact, this solid foam rubber wheel is going to be heavier than your inflatables. So especially when you look at like metal hubs or dense hub wheels. So as always, we're entrusting that pilots. The Bison is not a beginner aircraft, so this is intermediate plus. So we're trusting that pilots like you, Snow Valley, who astutely point out, if you're shifting mass, you're rechecking your CG. So thanks for pointing that out. But guys, as you're throwing on different wheels and experimenting, be conscious of weight as you would for any aircraft. There's obviously an aerodynamic penalty of putting such large wheels on. We've tested her with even larger, thicker wheels. You reach a point where it's kind of comical how much drag you're inducing out there ahead of the CG. So she can fly with shorter wheels. Obviously, there's enough prop clearance. I think I'd seen someone ask, can they just throw on just standard Benchcraft wheels? Uh, the answer, of course, is try it, make some adjustments, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Alpha, I wanted you to just, while I have you on here, and I don't know if your CAD could talk, can you just talk about, just slats in general? Like what, I'm sure you obviously know better than I, but, what's their true purpose? And, because I remember you explained this to me, but me trying to explain that to everybody else is not going to be as easy as you could. But, yeah, just talk a little bit about
Sure.
slats in general.
In fact, we can scroll through some of the footage we've got, or Alex, feel free to cut to my screen again, and I can show us as I talk about what's inside the wing. So we see here, guys, this is the inside of the Bison wing. Being such a large aircraft, obviously this is a multi-part wing, and so we're looking with the top half removed. So what slats are essentially intended to do is they're intended to increase lift when you're slow, because they're literally changing the airfoil in the sense of that flaps will modify the aftward shape of your airfoil. Slats and flaps together, if you can imagine, they're changing the actual camber of the wing. So you're changing your lift coefficient of the wing actively. Now that can get people into a lot of trouble because we might think of the T-45 as a great example. That was the first production aircraft in any layout, happened to be a jet first, that we did that used slats and flaps. And as a lot of customers noted, they said, "Wow, with slats down, I need even more power. I need a different power setting than I did with only flaps." So the answer is, well, yes, sir, of course, because again, everything changes. You're literally changing how that wing generates lift and how well it does so. So that's the purpose of the slats. Are they absolutely necessary? No. We've most of the time I don't use the slats at all. We've had some of our test pilots lock them in a certain position. They find that sweet spot for what they like, and they lock them in position. Again, your airplane, your choice. But can the aircraft be sort of unlocked by having this movable slat option? We think so. It's one of the reasons why we went after, why we chose to do that. And I can show you how that works by jumping into this other wing. Underneath here, as you'll see in the manual, the flap servo, which is this mount here, connects to a concealed, basically it's a pulley system. Here, that reaches towards the inside of the wing. Goes right there, and this impression you see here, there's a tube that goes all the way to the outer edge, and we have these two. I'll highlight them in green for you.
I could peel off the plastic and show that too.
If you wanted to. In green, you see, guys, these are those two slat hinges. Obviously, with the wing this wide, you can't just have one pivot point. So there's two pivot points molded in, and they're connected, obviously, by a concealed mechanism. We didn't want anything sort of hanging out in front of the aircraft. We already have the ailerons and the flap arms exposed. So we hid all that. We hid that mechanism up into the wing itself, but that is what allows you to, as you're deploying your flaps, at the same time they are mechanically linked to your slats. So as I mentioned earlier, people will be able to experiment and say, and they may find that if they only hook the flaps, if you want to do 90-degree barn doors, or if you want to do 80-degree barn door flaps, have at it. People will very quickly find that once they connect the flaps with the slats, you're going to get a similar effect with, say, 20 degrees deployment of your flaps, because again, it changes how that aircraft sort of floats in the air. You'll need more power to sort of keep the aircraft moving. If you have a higher headwind, you're actually going to want to back off almost all of that power. You're just going to keep the motor at just above idle. You're going to let the wing do all of the lifting. And you're also conscious again of how much airflow you have moving over your tail surfaces, so you don't stall. You can have an aircraft that is floating because there's a lot of lift, but you don't have any actual aerodynamic control because your elevators are moving in air that is not moving, right? Ergo, they don't have any authority. So what I'm trying to explain here is what we think pilots will get a kick out of uh, flying, because this is not going to fly like your standard old typical Cub. We'll make a Cub one day, no problem. I'm not saying the Cub's a bad airplane, but
There you go.
we didn't want this to be like that. So
Here, and I got an up close view. So right now the slats are not attached, but you can see the mechanism. So there'll be a bar that you attach from the flap servo to here. Then it's in the package, and then that's what actuates. So, and that runs completely across to the opposite. Really cool in the design. And again, you got the plastic covers. You do have access with the one side where you can adjust that. Yeah. Really cool.
we think it was neat.
But if you wanted to lock it down, just don't attach it, to the flap, and maybe tape it down, or, little hot glue it down, then it doesn't move however you'd want. But I think people are going to enjoy it. But again, it is a different experience, and that's something, again, I've never flown with slats and inflatable tires. So I'm like everyone else. I went out with this, each different time while I'm trying to do all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, when you get the slats and the flaps out, you're well over 50% throttle, and you're flying slow, even more, and you can get in that, but you can get in a sticky situation. If you think you're going to drop flaps, slats, shut the throttle off, and just come in to glide, you're going to find yourself in a really serious mushy elevator situation that, then you're just going to torque out of it and probably have, a bad day. So I would just say for everybody at the start, when you go up, when you open your slats and your flaps, just remember to stay around 50% and do it a couple mistakes high first, get used to it. And then you'll get better and better. And Gooniac, that's something Alpha could talk to, how much elevator compensation. I think that's going to be a type of thing that it's going to be up to the pilot. How do you want to fly it? That's like asking me how I fly the Gripen, and then, as we'll see, asking Air Guardian how he flies the Gripen, are two completely different conversations. But we both have a good time flying the Gripen. So, but I do think, as Alpha's saying, like, there might be elevator throttle mixes and things like that, again, for the advanced pilot who wants to, something that's capable of doing so much, and as we said, this is not for a beginner, you can get into trouble as a beginner.
Yeah. If a beginner were to get their hands on the Bison, I would tell them set it up like a typical aircraft, flaps only. In that case, it's gonna fly more like a typical, aircraft.
Yeah,
it really comes to setting it up. It has more runway, which is ironic for a stall. It has more runway to tweak and to customize and to draw those things out. But I've seen a lot of great comments, guys, and you all are absolutely right in terms of how people are talking about slats. You're right there, Air Guardian. Throttle settings, obviously, for when you've dumped full flaps and slats. You're also right, guys. That will vary based on how you fly, what your headwind is, and in general also where your CG is. This is an aircraft where we've got a really conservative CG set, so people can play with that and start moving aft CG. That's going to directly impact how the aircraft takes off, how it handles when it's nice and slow. And again, to be clear, we designed her so that people can experiment within a wider guardrails, so to speak, and still not fall out of the sky. But within responsible use cases, we think people can really end up having two Bisons that fly very differently from each other. You want to throw on a 6S and put nose-heavy CG and smaller dimension wheels and just fly it like a standard go-fast prop bird, knock yourself out. Want to put a 4S system, the 4S propeller, which is, again, the larger of the two propellers that we include in the box, fly it on 4S and just go for duration. again, that's fine too. We've flown it on a 4S 2500 all the way up to a 6S 5000. And it just flies differently. And so, including both props in the box was intentional because we do not want to tell people how they should fly the aircraft, but rather give them those options to try it out and see which one they like.
Totally.
You're right, Michael. She can definitely hover in high winds. Someone had asked earlier about, does it handle good in 10 to 15? Most of what we flew it in is 10 to 15.
Yeah, what you're seeing right now was 10 to 15 mile an hour winds going in the direction I was just flying, going left to right on the screen for that flight earlier today, with some heavy gusts. But again, I'm still experimenting with the slow flight with slats and flaps. Right away off my head when I first did it, I'm not gonna lie, I expected something completely different. But it's a different experience, and that's what I think is awesome. It's like, there are those aircrafts, right, that we have, like I would say the Tomcat or the Starfighter. They're not for everyone. They're for the guys that want a different experience altogether. A thrust vectoring Su-35 is something that, again, most aircraft aren't going to have. So that's where I think it's going to shine. I can't wait till the people who really love STOL and this type of aircraft get their hands on it as well. Because
right, we're hoping people like slats, and we're really hoping people like slats and leading edge mechanisms, because guys, you got to practice with things coming down the pipeline. Same thing we did with the Griffin. Same thing we did with the Tomcat. Like you said, James. Every aircraft we do is intentional, and where possible, we try to push that envelope and make and sometimes force people to learn how to fly other types of things. But trust us, it's going to be worth it, because there are other things that have those types of mechanisms. F-14 is a great example. You mentioned, James, the Tomcat was first because that's the first swept wing aircraft. The more people that we see operating that aircraft confidently, sort of opens up the runway for us and with other swept wing aircraft. The Griffin being a great example for canarded flight. And the Eurofighter, which we did years ago, 8-9 years ago now, that aircraft was a great demonstrator and a test case for pilots flying with canards, which then is ultimately induced a production of the Griffin. But there are other canarded aircraft that we're sitting back watching the community saying, are people setting up canards? Do they want full flying canards? Are they confident with canarded airplanes? Because if and when we see that, canards, there may be more canards in your future. There may be more aircraft with slats in your future. There may be aircraft with adjustable undercarriage, as the Bison has, in our future. So always keep an eye towards what's to come.
Cool. Jeff NC84. Cool. I look forward to checking it out, and it might appear in the YouTube section of the show next week. I will say, though, this is definitely not an aircraft that you're gonna take your time on the build, putting everything together. There's a lot of different parts that you got to do. From the wing struts to the landing gear to doing your tires. You got to take time for that glue to dry before you even try to inflate them and things like that. So this is one of the areas, unlike the Vulcan, where the Vulcan you could take to the field and in 20 minutes be in the air. This one you're gonna take your time on the build video, and we're seeing it now, filming the assembly video, double that time because we got to get all the pickup shots to do it. But yeah, so I'm excited to see it though, and for everyone who gets it, man. But yeah, as Alpha was saying, or as I said before, like. That's what kept a lot of people away in the past from certain aircraft is just they're not ready to take that leap. I don't want to deal with programming, ailerons on a swept wing aircraft, or I don't want to deal with slats. But eventually, you do, and we hope people take the dive and have some fun with this one.
It's worth learning. So speaking of that, let's dive into the community here. I know that we've got a lot of media coming in over the week, and customizations and all those sorts of fun things, guys.
But wait,
I see what Alex queued up. Alex queued up the sub spin and win. So we're jumping right to the sub spin and win this week.
Even better.
Even better. And now there is not a Bison on the wheel. just moving too fast to get it up there. I don't know. I wasn't sure if it was going to be there by today. Sanex up! He's a member, I believe, of our YouTube channel. You are the winner of this week's Sub Spin and Win. So we're going to cut the camera to our Vanna White cam. Here I am. I don't dress
We need
as
to get
nice.
you a wig, James.
For sure. And if my voice, the mic's over there, so if I sound like a little farther away, I am. But we're ready. We do have a Vulcan on the wheel. Are we ready, Sanex up? This one's for you, sir. 3, 2, 1. Big money, big money, big... Oh, 2 of them flew up. 2 of my magnets flew up, but it's a spin again, so we're putting them back on. Gavanti flew off. And the Dora flew up.
Too strong of a spin.
Too strong of a spin. Magnetically attached. But I know because it's dark blue, medium blue, light blue, dark blue, medium, light blue. Alright, we're trying again. Spin again, Sanex up. Here we go. I think it's going to happen again. No. Spinny, spinny, spinny. Oh, man.
Oh, so close.
That's a tough blow.
If we slow that down, it was like 98% of the way there.
That is like thick rubber too. But you got yourself a coffee mug, Sanex up, and for you to to have for the show to join me, you will get this coffee cup. To claim your prize, you email us at contest@motionrc.com, and your mug will be on the way, sir, so that you can enjoy the show. I definitely see him in the comment section. I don't know if he watches the live show, but he's a
I've seen him.
member,
Yeah,
and
I've seen him a lot.
he's been around. So if you're out there, man, sorry. The luck of the draw sometimes, but hey,
10 grams from a Vulcan.
the best coffee mug of a raise. Oh man, that's tough. That's a tough blow. I put those two together too. That's tough.
Third day, you've got a question about the business disadvantage to offering color options. That's a good question. This goes for the Bison in any aircraft. The short answer is absolutely. If you have too many different color options, you have to think not just of the aircraft itself, but of spare parts.
Inventory, spare parts.
Yeah, if there are dozens of spare parts in sub-assemblies even that aren't available to the user, but for the factory to generate a fuselage that's a completely different color from another aircraft, there's a reason why I want to say we're the ones out of most in the industry. If a second livery is even made available, we're the ones who try to do that more often than not. But absolutely, it cannot be done for every aircraft, and frankly shouldn't be done. It's just not tenable to do so. So the idea is that, again, I'm hoping someone takes a can of bright orange paint that's the same color as that dragonfly behind James and just sprays over the aircraft. Or we look what happened with the AL-37. Thousands of people around the world refinish their airplanes. So I think if the aircraft is good enough, people will spend the time to customize it, but it's not something we can unfortunately offer on the mass production side from day one. But let us know if she's popular. We may do a second scheme. We're also known for doing that for certain aircraft in the future.
Yeah, it all depends on how this one goes. But I think
And Michael,
it's a pretty cool and benign scheme. I mean, I think it's hard to hate it.
I think
because
so
it's
too.
rugged. I think it's just gray and red with black. And
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. I'd like
Michael,
to see someone painted black.
Michael, an all-white version, we've done that for other aircraft. It's not cost-effective because most people, again, 99.9% of the people out there, they don't want to paint. We love that a lot of people paint aircraft. James is a painter. I'm a painter. Many of you are customizers and painters. The reality is, guys, most guys just want to fly it. So we try to make liveries for all of our aircraft that are approachable. There are aircraft like the AL-37 where we specifically make an all-white version because that aircraft just has so many liveries out there in the world. But for most of the airplanes, like other manufacturers, we're trying to find something that can live with the majority of people.
I think the only plane that the all-white version, was an absolute success is the airliner. But that's look at how many options
the only
there are in
one.
the world. You know, like
Yeah.
that was just calling for it. But yeah, let's get into the community. We could come back to more questions and answers on the Bison, you know, at the end of the show. So hold on to your questions if you have more questions for Alpha there. Let's get into what was going on the community. And Brent Hecht out there again with his T33 and his P80, I think it is, right? Is that with the because that's a converted
Yeah.
T33 on the right?
It's
to
the
the P80.
P80, the original. This guy.
The OG. I mean, this guy's insane. But there's your bright
Brent.
orange, Alpha.
Yeah, there she is.
There it is.
Oh, perfect example. If the aircraft is good, people will find a way. They'll find the time. And Brent Hecht, for anyone not familiar, I think we all are. He's just world class. I mean, these refinishes on these free wing T33s just so impressive. I want to do an orange version.
Like the wingtips on the P80.
Should we release that as a livery?
That's great. Which one? The orange? Well, you already got the orange mold. It's almost the same orange.
It is.
On the German one, right? Tips on the outside.
It is, but I like the orange and silver. Great job, Brent.
Yeah, that looks awesome, as always. And then here's his. Now, you know, he does that glass job on his blues. There it is in the sun.
Yeah, free wing F-18.
Yeah. Gosh. And then he put on, you know, updated. He went nuts to make it fully scale.
Yeah, I've been watching his build logs that he does on YouTube, on his YouTube channel, Hecht Speed, and those scale struts on the back. He did a lot of hacking, which shows why we weren't able to mass produce something like that. But he is a wizard.
Yeah, he is. Oh, and then this one we didn't get it on the show last week, but you know, Justin Lamb. He's a real pilot, and he was saying last week he was watching the show from the cockpit while he's waiting.
Yeah, I had to have him send me that picture. That's too cool.
So there's a good shot. I love that, but we got it too late. But here it is from last week. So much appreciated. Then moving on, Brandon Smith got his A6 and 3D printed the bombs, you know, that have been missing for quite some time. I think they originally had them as a spare part, but then, you know, no longer, I don't think. But you can 3D print them, and they look good, as is. That's one of those planes that just looks good stock out of the box, like the A4 too, with the scheme that's on it.
Yeah, that's a good-looking bird.
Oh, then moving on to Al Mason, his F3J? FJ3.
Oh yeah, Fury.
The Fury.
Nice.
Like, you know, from the F86. I always dig that. There were a lot of good customs popping up, and people who were new to the Facebook community, like Alex said last week, it just seems to be hitting a new stride of the members. We might be over 10,000 now. Crazy. I never expected that. Started a Facebook group. I didn't even know what it was when I started. I was like, oh, this just seems like a good idea. Let's get a place where everybody can go and share stuff. And it's become awesome.
A lot of work into this Fury. Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. More orange. There it is. Then we got this L39. I've definitely seen the Breitling scheme on a few, but that looks really sharp. Love the one on the wing. I want to see it outside. So that is Teddy Barta. If you could get that one outside when it's all complete, tip tanks on, that'll be really cool. Jeremy Salt's grandfather worked on Fury jets. Nice. That's awesome. Then we got Stuart Wetton, who just 3D printed his own nozzle for the Gripen on the thrust vectoring system. So I'm sure some of these, some of these nozzles are available on Thingiverse and things like that if you just wanted to do. People like to do these customizations. Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, then last week, I don't know if you were watching Alpha, but Scott Greenfield crashed that beautiful yellow MiG and red black scheme MiG.
I saw that.
Into the T-33, but he's rebuilding it, and he put a kill marker on the side of his MiG. I thought that was really funny. I think that's great. The T-33 outline. Really
Humor heals all. Humor heals all.
That one's definitely flyable again. You can get that one up. Then moving on, Rick Taylor made a nice post where he's enjoying his early flights. It was his first EDF, his first dive into EDF. He's flying the Vulcan, and he says, I think he said he had 10 flights on it so far and loving it. So it's awesome. Then people are asking him questions. How does it compare to the Avanti? How's it compare? And like so the first line says, "This is my first EDF jet." Nothing to compare it to, which is great. This is what the Vulcan's good for. Definitely a good way to start out. And Kevin Garland just shared cool looking like photoshopped image. I don't know what filter that was.
The Smallville.
Oh, Brandon Smith, thanks, man. You don't have to do that, but thank you so much. Gotta give a shout out there. You're already a member, I believe, or you're not. If you are, then welcome aboard. I thought that was a welcome aboard one. I haven't done that in a while. We've been getting our members like midweek, not during the show as much as we used to. But it's awesome. Joseph Weingam, this one makes me sad.
This one makes me so
I
sad,
think of
dude.
the F-22 that we had, but it looks awesome. I would love to see it at night. LED'd up MiG-21. That just looks cool.
I hope they find him. I hope they find our F-22 one day.
Oh my goodness. Never. So mad that it never came back. I don't even want to talk about it. Oh, then this was a cool post. So JD Crow said he met up with Michael Rosnick and they went to like a tank event. So that's what I want to do. Are those, I'm wondering on the left, the big white, are those supposed to be fake like propeller, like wind generators or whatever? I don't know
They had those in World War II.
Yeah, I'm like, is that, what are those there for? But they're part of the course. But really cool,
so
man. I want to try this so bad. Like I see
Yeah.
this and yeah, it's slow and but it's like methodical, I would love, there must be like some cool rules to it. It looks like they had a good time. I've got to get to one of these at some point.
Yeah, we got to get out to one of these.
Like 20 people, all the tanks moving around, it'd be great. I love it. So thanks so much for that share. Now moving on. Oh, Ian Wales, another new member to the community.
Ooh.
And check it out, OV10 looking sharp. I love what he did. Looks like he painted the struts as well. Did great work on
Very
the
nice.
props. The props look beautiful.
That was
I
one
think
of the
that's-
liveries we were thinking of doing, actually. Just a little fun fact behind the scenes. We were looking at the USAF version. We went with the ponies for obvious reasons, but yeah, the White Wing USAF observers were great. That's a great choice. Great scheme.
It looks really nice. Like
Yeah.
it's glassed up top, like really sharp finish on that. You just wonder, where are these people? They just found Facebook, but here they are. There's so many more that just pop up and throw a bomb like that into the group. Like, oh, I'm here too. Boom. That
Great
looks
job,
great.
Ian.
Love it. All right, and then George Fabiani got out with a couple of A10s and some others. Always love seeing, groups out there and some good-looking shots of what looks like a nice weathered up A10. Never get tired of seeing the A10. Then he had two other planes, I think. Oh yeah, he had his Goshawk. That looks sharp as well. Then F-18 for the ending, but all looking good. So George, thanks for the share. And then I love this one from Klaas Wallen. Just a bunch of spits and some cool shots. There are a couple
Nice.
Flightline Spitfires at the club. And then there's a couple cool shots at the end that came from a different angle. But they're in like cow pastures back there.
Extremely English.
Yeah, there we go.
Extremely
Go to
English.
4. Go to 4. Here we go. Boom! Cow's not even phased.
Maximum English.
Maximum.
I
pure
see a
English.
gray sky and in wildlife flatness. Yeah, it's English.
And then
We
check
need
that out.
something to combat that Spitfire.
That looks great. Yeah, we do.
Hmm.
Don't joke with me like that, please.
Should we ask the crowd what they
about
want?
that.
Yes. We need many things to combat that Spitfire. Oh my goodness, you just got me excited. Moving on, that wraps up Facebook for the week, guys. So we're gonna move on to YouTube, where we're at a couple clips. Again, the YouTube clips links are in the description below to all these channels, so definitely go check them out. I want to just give a shout out to Jeff's Custom RC. I always watch their show on Tuesdays, even if I'm not commenting as much, but Jeff's a good guy, and he's working on that L39 on the right, his Freewing L39. He's got like a whole dragon scheme. We might have seen the livery done before. I think it was somebody did it, and it was in the community. But he was talking a lot about his paint settings the other night. He does a live show every Tuesday. So just go check him out if you already don't know, if you don't check. Jeff's got a good channel every Tuesday night. They do a live show. So definitely go check him out. Then moving on, West Hobbies RC. I hadn't found this channel before, but he does an unboxing of the Vulcan. So, you know, he pulls it out and just goes over it, you know, piece by piece, up close and personal. So if you don't want to watch my video and listen to my loud voice, then you could check out West Hobbies RC. I won't be upset. But I like that. See what else happens on this channel. Another new channel we found for this week. So go check it out. Then, oh, I like this one. Icarus II. We've definitely seen him fly many times. He met up with Robert, who you guys would know from the shows, but he's out there with a Black Horse L39 and a 100mm Wemotech. I was excited to see that, so he dove into the balsa world of EDFs, and again, like Hamilton's Hangar did his video on this one. God rest its soul. I'm sorry, it's no longer flying for him, but it looks good. It's a good looking model, and looks like a nice power system too, and he's got a rough grass field too, so really nice. I know it's definitely gonna have a lot of weight in it, but I don't know anything about that sort of power setup. 100mm just seems like, you know, in between. Like, I didn't even know there was a 100mm fan setup, but I guess it makes sense. Why is there 90? Why is there 70? Why is there 80? Why isn't there 100? Why is the next jump?
Yeah, there's
to
100, 110s, 120s, 127s.
Because for me, it always seemed like 90, then jumped to 105, which split the difference to 120. And then pretty much after 120, you're getting a turbine. Custom making something.
Yeah.
But that looks really nice and landed well. So check out his channel, because I'm sure he's going to do a lot more flights on it, if that's your thing. It looks really good, and it sounded good, too, on that setup. All right, then we got, Hex Speed. So you saw his T33 and his P80. He has a whole video on his channel. So again, I just speed through it, but he talks all about what he did. And again, showing him off in comparisons, the work, the detail, you know, second to none. So definitely go check out Hex Speed. As always, link again in the description of the video. Then we'll save Air Guardian. You're coming last, because that was awesome. But my favorite channel to pronounce, because I can't do it. He got himself a MiG-29 Arkaduj Kashin. I'm terrible with that.
Try again.
Nobody's ever, you know, phonetically spelled it out for me. I don't think anyone else knows how to say it. But he got himself a MiG. So this is his maiden, and I really like his videos.
Say it, Alpha.
You know how to say it? Oh, Alpha.
My ex-girlfriend was Polish.
Oh, man.
I've to tell you in the past, but since I'm on the show, I'll tell you, I don't think I'm ever going to want to tell you. It's better to have you try and pronounce.
It's so good every time.
Sure, this poor guy doesn't deserve that. I feel so terrible. But here he comes. He comes a little hot. So he's learning the plane. He's a great pilot. You know, he's flying a Spitfire out there and all sorts of planes. But hey, his maiden came in a little hot, but looking good. Right off the grass. So go check out his flight if you want to follow. I'm sure he's going to post, you know, further videos. So, you know, if you're on the path to a MiG, you could follow somebody who's new to it as well. And, you know, give him a like and a subscribe. And then the last one we got, I love this video, Air Guardian. He says, tell everyone in the comments, you push your CG back, like, you're like 60mm now behind the book. And with the thrust vectoring.
Ridiculous.
And like, you know, I think this is another one of his 1350. He does a lot of flights, so I just put the whole first flight in. I didn't even get a chance to watch the rest. I'm gonna go back and watch it. But just the way this thing moves with that CG position. Now I gotta get back out and just go nuts. 'Cause I have two of them here, so one can be sacrificed, I think, in the attempts to do what. Look at that. Turns like complete opposite direction. I love it. 40mm back from the book CG. Hashtag Church of Best CG.
Church of the best
But
CG.
look at the flips. Look at this. Flat spin inverted. And then he
No
gets
gyro in
almost
here.
gets hairy. Oh, he got low. I love that they didn't show the ground because you don't really know how close it might have gotten. It probably wasn't as close as it looked. But see, now I want to see your boy follow it. Why am I forgetting his name? Is Tucky? Tucky 10. You got to do this in the air with this new CG setup. This looks awesome. I could watch these flights all day. I love it. And again, another thing that might not be for everyone, but that looks fun to fly. There it is. That's the one that almost. That's the one that almost killed it. It looked like it was gonna die right there. That was crazy. You're just unreal, man. I love it. We gotta get over it.
Hashtag messy pants.
Can I start a GoFundMe to buy plane tickets for Alex and I to go visit this man? Film him and fly? Can we do that? Is that legal? I don't even know if that's legal. That would be amazing. When COVID's done, I'd love to I have to cross the sea. Unbelievable. So Air Guardian, bravo, man. Love that. Absolutely fantastic. And, oh yeah, who's filming for you again? Is it Tucky? Is it his friend? I forget. I don't even know. We got a cameraman too. You know, like obviously Air Guardian's not filming that, so you know, he's always on it. Johnny on the spot too with the filming. You got a great crew over there as well. So definitely go check out the Air Guardian if you're new to the show. You know, he pops up more often than not, and you know, as he should, because videos are pretty darn awesome.
Legend.
Oh, your dad! Oh, unbelievable! That's perfect. That's even better. Father and son team, like, that looked so much fun. The flying on that. I want to see. You got to put a camera in the cockpit just to see, you know, where would the pilot have died if it would have been a real aircraft? Where would the G's have taken him out? Looked really awesome. But, all right, back to the questions and answers portion, guys. We are at 5 minutes to the end here, so I'll give it another 5, maybe 10 minutes with Alpha. If you have any questions about, you know, the Bison specific, let us know, because if not, then we're going to wrap this up and we're going to get started trying to build us a Bison again for the video. Any rough ETA on the Nexa G58 Beechcraft? Michael Raja, I wish I knew. I don't have that information available to me right now. Alpha might know more, but he probably won't either.
Yeah. I don't. Unfortunately, Michael, we don't have a direct ETA on that specific model. We know that they're making more. Factory super slammed to produce and ship, so I can't give you a clear ETA. Especially what we saw with the Bison. That aircraft waited for months to get onto a container, and once it did, it happened to have the fastest transit across the Pacific than any of our containers this year. And yet, even then, so we thought we were lucky. And then it still got stuck in Chicago. So there are just so many unknown variables here, guys. We always try to undersell and overdeliver. So we do not want to give any clear ETAs on that bird right now, unfortunately. But I will say, I will say one more thing. I think quick PSA announcement. It makes it even more important that for people who are waiting on specific models, please make sure that you're in the notify me, because we've already had it happen that by the time new products are restocked, they go so quickly that we get a lot of backlash from people saying, I didn't sign up, or I heard it on Facebook and I didn't get the email. By the time they get to the website, things are sold out. So again, we're grateful for the support. We're grateful that people are standing in line for these products coming in, but please make sure you're in that line, because we're in a phase, guys, where there are a lot of things coming, and there are a growing number of people wanting to get their hands on these products, from tanks and cars to airplanes. So make sure you're on that notify me list, please and thank you.
I saw Airvex RC. The Bison performs great inverted. I just need, you know, pushing a little bit north, as long as you're on the CG point. No problems flying around inverted at all that I notice. Airvex can't tell you when not sure when the floats will be available, but they should be, on the way. But they
Yeah,
will
we'll put them
definitely
on
be
the
coming.
website. We'll put them on the
Once
website
we
when
know,
we get closer.
yeah, once we know, you'll all know. Are we going to be seeing the Black Horse L39 or the Viper? I'm not sure. Wish I knew. Maybe. we showed that one, to see if we get people excited for it. It's a matter of people asking. Get on Hobby Squawk. Asking customer service, all that information, gives us more reason. Just like the Notify Me went back in stock too. That's a good way to know who wants what. That helps. All that information, helps the companies you like, to make sure they get product you like. So definitely do that. And with the Notify Me when back in stock, I do see on occasion people say I didn't get an email when a product comes in. But that's only because it's on a first come, first serve. So if you're signed up on the notification list, say you sign up and you're the 101st person who signed up, if 100 of those products come in, then the first 100 people get the email. And then it takes another 3 days or so, then it'll email the next bunch, if there's still any there. So sometimes what happens is you just get an email because, you're still also competing with the people who aren't on the Notify Me when back in stock list, who just happen to find the product. So, but being on the Notify Me when back in stock list will guarantee you get an email right when the product goes live, and it goes live as soon as it gets scanned into the warehouse. So, the Bison will definitely be available in Europe, Arthur, as with, a lot of the other stuff. Just, the container takes longer to get there than it does, to just shoot across the Pacific and get to the U.S. They usually leave at the same time. So, it all depends. Is there a setting where the slats are completely retracted? No, well, they're connected to the same servo as the flaps for your slats. So if you wanted the slats to function separately, you would be adding, a second servo, and then connecting it that way, which could probably easily be done. If I was going to do it, I'd probably put the servo right next to the flap servo, cut this arm off, and just put the arm and the hook to do the slats, if you wanted to do it. It would easily be done. I'm sure people are going to do that as well. For sure. Guy, no, because it's not on the warehouse. It's not on the website yet. So, Guy.
Yeah, so in that case, you're gonna want to go to Hobby Squawk and be heard there. Whether it's a product that we've got a product page for with the Notify Me, where you can put your email in, or absent that product page, it's something we're thinking about bringing in, like the L39 or the big P47. Hobby Squawk is where those voices are heard. There are threads that we've got there, Guy, of people asking what's coming or this is what I'd like to see. So as James mentioned, the more people we see asking for a specific thing, we just need to be judicious as far as what we're bringing in. And so please navigate there and let us know what you want to see, and we'll get on it.
All right, guys. I think that about does it. Were the F-15s inside? I don't know, Rich Am. I doubt it. I think
they were
the last. Well, the last
we sold them all.
Yeah, they went fast. Like there were a couple, I think, on that last free wing container, probably with the Vulcans, and they moved quick. It's amazing how fast certain things can just go at certain times. Like these right now. I don't know if there'll be any left when the assembly video comes out. So hopefully, it gets there in time for the people who do get it to get help from me with the assembly. I'll try to have this up Tuesday or Wednesday. We gotta hustle. I will. Alex is getting a lot of work done before he gets married next weekend. So Alex won't be here next Friday. I will be. But Alex is getting married next Saturday. So everybody give big congrats to Alex. I'll be there, and Sunday's going to be a rough day. Probably, from what I can assume. Sunday's probably going to be a rough day. But
Alpha, what time are you showing up on Saturday?
About 15 or half past never, one of those. If I'm not there in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
We'll have a plate ready for you.
Just his voice. I'm gonna tap him into the whole mess hall, into the DJ booth, so we just hear Alpha's voice. Hi, Alex. Cool. Well, all right, guys. So I think that is going to wrap up today's show. So again, next week it'll just be me again sitting here. So doing things. So remember, other things going on. Crash contest. Keep your submittals coming. You have till the end of October to crash something, so you can fly out there and if you're trying to make room for the Bison, sacrifice something for the chance to win. To win a crash contest. That would be awesome. But I'd love to show some more crashes maybe on next week's show and all sorts of other stuff. I'm hoping to see some Bison flights by, everybody else. Customers would always be good to see. And as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Episode 39 coming. Thank Alpha. Alpha, thank you. Do you have any parting words?
The only parting word is if we get 100 likes on this video, we'll do an extra spin next Friday in honor of Alex's wedding.
Okay. Oh, all
Let's
right.
go.
So we got to get to 100 likes and we'll get an extra spin. So 2 winners if this video gets to just 100 likes. We're only at 58.
Yeah, I'll pay for that.
Oh, man. All right. Alpha
You
will
teach
pay for
people,
that.
close the chat, click the like button,
Now we
reopen
can
the
give
chat.
away two mugs.
Too much.
Right between. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the wheel's just going to be full of mugs next week. So that's the kicker. Gonna fill it all with mugs. But all right, gentlemen, we got a lot of work before us. And we'll see you next week. So thanks so much, guys. If you're out there flying, have a great maiden. If you're maiden something this weekend, hopefully the weather is good for you. Whatever RC adventures you're gonna have, enjoy them, and hopefully we'll see you here next Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Bye, guys.